I don't know why Visa Air is not available in Ireland. I believe that the Schengen Visa application system is a little bit outdated. The pension system is something that I don't like. If you have an Indian passport and you have an Irish residence permit, you can visit 12 European countries without a visa or maybe with an e-visa or visa on arrival. Hello everyone, welcome to another vlog. So today I'm going to talk about something related to the downside of living in Ireland. You see, Ireland is a very good country when it comes to the standard of living. Look at the air quality. The air quality is way better than that in India. For example, the air quality index here in Galway is somewhere around 10 to 20. But if you compare that to the most of the Indian cities, it's somewhere like 200 to 400. So that means the air quality back home in India is 20 to 40 times worse than that here in Galway. So that's a positive side of living in Ireland. But there are lots of downside to living in Ireland. So, for example, the public transport in Ireland is not the best. The healthcare system is not the very best. The pension system is something that I don't like. But today I'm not going to talk about all these things. Today I'm going to talk about something which is related to the mobility. A lot of my friends actually moved to Europe because they realized that they can stay in one country and visit other countries nearby during their vacations or during their free time. So that's one of the major benefits of moving to Europe. But unfortunately, moving to Ireland doesn't have this benefit, especially if you are someone from a non-European or non-African country. I think if you are someone from Africa or Southeast Asia like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, then probably you will be able to relate to this. So what I'm trying to say, today I'm going to talk about something called visa shopping. It's like a white collar crime, something like illegal or grey, but kind of ignored many times. And let's say you have an Indian passport, then you would need a Schengen visa to go to maybe Germany, Croatia, or Spain, or Portugal, or any other such lovely vacation sites in Europe. I don't have a problem in getting a visa, but the problem is the Schengen visa appointment. If you're living in Ireland, then getting a visa appointment is very hard. So 2 to 3 weeks back, I received an email from the Italian embassy that they have cancelled nearly 5,000 waiting list candidates for the visa appointment. So getting a visa appointment slot is really hard. And I'm talking about a country, let's say Lithuania, a country which very few people actually visit. You would assume that since a lot of people don't really go to Lithuania, it would be probably easier to get a visa for that country. Unfortunately, when I applied for a visa appointment like last month, the date I got was 6 months ahead. I got a date for January 18, 2024 when I applied in July of 2023. So that's totally ridiculous. Generally the embassies, they have visa appointment through online or you have to write an email. Some of the embassies like Germany or Spain or Netherlands, they have outsourced this visa and consular services to third-party agencies like BLS, VFS, or TLS. Even then, it's very difficult to find an appointment for these countries. You would even need a visa to go to UK if you are living in Ireland. You are living in an European country, but unfortunately, you cannot visit most European countries. Like Spain, Portugal, or France. These are some of the most visited countries, for tourism. So obviously, it is very difficult to find a visa appointment slot for these countries. So what people generally do is they apply for the visa appointment of least visited countries like Estonia or Lithuania, Malta, this kind of countries. You can basically get a Schengen visa for Lithuania and visit any other remaining 26 Schengen area country. So that's what people do. And this is called visa shopping. So visa shopping basically means you do not travel to the main destination for which you have applied to the visa. So a lot of people I know, they went to Spain with a visa from, let's say, Estonia. So this particular thing is called visa shopping. It's kind of illegal. If the immigration officer finds it, they can cancel or deny your admission to the country. Sometimes they can even fine you. And in the worst case, you can face imprisonment. But anyways, people kind of ignored this one. What this has led to is like a lot of people applying to these embassies like Lithuania or Estonia. And even in these countries, you cannot find a visa appointment slot. So this is the downside of living in Ireland. Imagine a country of 5 million where less than 100,000 people would probably need a visa to go to other European countries, because, a lot of people in Ireland are Irish and other nationalities from European Union. They don't need a visa to go to other European countries. Only a handful of, let's say, 100,000 people need visas, and there are 27 countries, and yet they cannot accommodate them. So that's really horrible. So what can you do under the circumstances? Just like every cloud has a silver lining, so there is a silver lining to living in Ireland as well. I'm going to talk about a few countries where you can visit with your Indian passport and Irish residence permit. Probably this is going to be applicable to other passport holders as well, who are from non-European Union countries or non-American countries. So if you have an Indian passport and you have an Irish residence permit, you can visit 12 European countries without a visa or visa on arrival or e-visa. So last year I visited Serbia and Montenegro because I faced a similar circumstance, similar situation where I wanted to get a visa, but I could not find an appointment for 2 to 3 months ahead of time. So I decided to go to visit Serbia and Montenegro. And trust me, that was one of the best trips of my life. Serbia is a very least visited country. So earlier you could go to Serbia with just an Indian passport, but from this year onwards, they have changed the visa policy. So you would need a visa to go to Serbia. But if you have an Irish residence permit, you can easily visit Serbia with your Indian passport and just IRP card. Some other countries are Albania, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Georgia, Moldova. You can visit all these countries without a visa. But the other countries which require kind of an e-visa are Armenia, Azerbaijan, Turkey, or Ukraine. These are the countries which require e-visa. If you want to visit Serbia, let's say, for example, from Ireland, so here is a very, very important tip. So the tip is that you have to book your flights through a legacy airline like Lufthansa or KLM or something like that. Not like a point-to-point budget airline like Ryanair or Wizz Air. That's because when you do a point-to-point airline booking, so you really need to go through the passport control if you have a layover in another Schengen area country. So let's say, for example, you want to go to Belgrade from Dublin. So if you book via Ryanair flight, let's say from Dublin to Rome, and then from Rome to Belgrade. So basically, you would have to have a Schengen visa so that you can actually board the flight and enter into the Schengen zone through the immigration at Rome. But if you book through a Lufthansa Airlines, your entire journey is covered in one PNR. So this is something that you need to be careful if you are planning to visit any of these visa-free destinations with your Indian passport and IRP. I've already visited Serbia, Montenegro, North Macedonia and Albania in this way. I'm going to visit Georgia and Bosnia later this year. Few days back, I went to Albania and North Macedonia. So what I did was I booked a flight from Dublin to Frankfurt and Frankfurt to Tirana. And while return, I booked it from Skopje in North Macedonia to Frankfurt and from Frankfurt to Dublin. If you have an Indian passport and also you have an Irish residence permit, then if you stay on the air side of the Frankfurt or any German international airport, then you don't need a visa. The second way is you can have a UK visa, go to London, and then catch a flight to, let's say, Belgrade or Tirana or whatever destination which is kind of visa free on your Indian passport and IRP. It's relatively easy to get the UK visa. From London, a lot of cheap flights, a lot of Wizz Air flights can be found. You can use that Wizz Air flight to go to these Balkan countries, at a lower cost. So that you can do because, Wizz Air is a Hungarian airlines. It doesn't really operate from Ireland, unfortunately. It operates from UK. It operates in a lot of other mainland European countries. It even operates, goes up to Abu Dhabi and Eastern Europe. Pretty much a lot of parts of Europe, this airline goes, except in Ireland. I don't know why Wizz Air is not available in Ireland. I think the problem with visa appointment is a little bit systemic. I believe that the Schengen visa application system is a little bit outdated. It requires a lot of documentation, even for tourism or travel. That requires a lot of documentation. If you compare that to an UK visa or US visa or Canada visa, it's very, very easier, And a lot of countries these days have moved to e-visa system. Unfortunately, these European countries haven't moved to the electronic system. That's a little bit backwards, I would say. So if the European countries also move to something like e-visa system and they give a long-term visa for travel and tourism, then probably that would actually, solve this long backlog in visa appointments. The US or Canada, these countries can give 10 years of tourist visa or up to the end of validity of your passport. Even the UK visa, they gave it for 6 months for the first time. When you apply for the second time, they gave it for 2 years. So I think this is something that the Schengen countries can do as well. You need to get at least two single entry or two double entry visas before you can actually get a multiple entry visa. And even then, some of the embassies, like I personally test this, like the Belgian embassy, so that okay, I had got two stamps of Schengen visa, one single entry and one double entry in the last 2 years. Ideally, this would have given me a multiple entry visa, and I did show that my itinerary. Even then, that lady in the Belgian embassy in Dublin, okay, denied me a multiple entry visa. She denied me even a double entry visa. Okay, I had got visa from Hungary, Croatia, France. I even studied in Germany. I had a long-term visa from Germany in the last 2 3 years. Even then, she said, "Oh well, like you have never been to Belgium. If you have got two Schengen visas, ideally, then you can get a multiple entry visa on your third application. And after that, you can apply for a 1 year visa, and then eventually you can go for other long-term visas as well." So this is something I believe is really horrible as an experience, I would say. Sometimes I believe that the people are actually forced to do this visa shopping thing. Ireland is pretty small and it's homogenous. You can get bored living in Ireland for a long period of time. I remember how I felt living during the COVID in Ireland. So you really need that break. Unfortunately, visa thing kind of limits your opportunities. I'm not sure if you are from US, Canada, or any other country watching this video, if you can relate about this. But unfortunately, this is something I believe if you are from Southeast Asia or Africa, then you can relate to this problem. If you are already living in Ireland, then I think you would probably know this situation. But if you're someone who is planning to move to Ireland, then just be aware that maybe this is one thing you will be facing in the future. I hope you like this video. What do you think about visa shopping? And if you find this video useful, please let me know in the comments.